Let's load the psychopath chapter. And see our good friend Yasuji Bon. When Bon came back to Frieza's office for the first time in a week, things looked a little different. Was it still dusty as all shit? The piles of papers on the desks were nowhere to be seen. They'd probably all fallen over during the earthquake, and Momose had ordered them cleaned up. The place looked a lot nicer now, actually. It's not a fucking sty. Bon sighed and sat down in the chair he'd dragged over from one of the desks. He waved his fan in front of his face, exhausted. Momose was in front of him, typing into her laptop. She looked up at the gloom on his face and furrowed her brow. You're surprised? This dude looks like a fucking sentient sigh. Constant exhaustion out of this fucking guy. Yeah. David Copperfield. Chris Angel. There was one guy I remember I used to have when I was a kid. I had to, like, his VHS tape. His name was like Lance something. Lance Magicman. No, out of a hat. Like a rabbit. You know, a magic. White rabbit. Your white room. Straight jacket. Yeah, if anybody looks like he parties. Momose shrugged and popped the sweet kinsuba cake that Bon had brought her into her mouth. Just always eating food, this one, because she's fat. You know, fat people always eating. ABE. Always be eaten. Have some tea. Sua brought over 2 paper cups. Steam was pouring off the green tea within them. Should have been like, where's my whipped cream? Oh, not Miho. He gave her a brilliant smile as he handed the cups to her and Bon. Sua had come here before when he and Bon had been working on a different case. Ever since then, he'd looked up to Momose as his teacher, more than he looked up to his partner, Bon. Momose seemed to like the young, hard-working Sua, and wasn't as harsh with him as she was with Bon. You're talking about magic. Oh yeah? For what purpose? Right? She might be onto something there. You're never gonna get a girlfriend if you're always fucking riding this fucking guy's coattails. This is also true. Yeah, quit asking about magic tricks, idiot. Bon seemed unsatisfied, but Momose ignored him and offered Sua the box of kinsuba cakes. Cool, in that case I'll have 2. As Sua reached for a kinsuba cake, Bon let out another sigh. A lot of sighing going on. Sighs and sweat. That's what this game is. Oh no, not stonks. The laptop was showing a line graph. The line was like a wave, slowly going up and down. Sua walked around behind Bon and looked down at the screen, confused. It's a line graph of pies, a pie graph of bars, and a bar graph of lines. Oh, gravity errors, let's fucking go. I mean, there's that red spike, but I just assume that's a mountain. Well, the highest in the world. Somebody's manipulating gravity. Defying it, one could say.
数値が小刻みに変動しすぎ、10年ぐらい前まで遡って調べてみたんだけど、ここ5年くらいはずっとそんな。
前に太田教授だっけ。
Dr. Uta. Oh, not the gravity rates. The gravity rates are unstable.
太田教授の調査では G レートでそんなに細かい変動は起こさないっていうことなのよ。
Who committed all those murders? Gravity. I hear ya. To what end, I ask? 5 years of manipulating gravity, and for what? To do some silly murders? That can't be right. Oh, but there's one more thing. Whoa. That's to explain the fact that the murderer is a high school student, because he does his crimes on the weekend. Can't do him on a school night, he's gonna go to school the next day. I get the weekends off, I'm not a salary man. I think you need to have a talk with somebody, brother, because that sounds not very worker-friendly. Then again, you are detectives, so... Unfortunately, you decided to be a detective in a murder story, so... Time off wasn't likely to come your way. Momose shook her head a little at the two detectives, who both suddenly had gloomy looks on their faces. Yeah, stop joking about how you guys need time off. Work yourself. Grind set, let's go. Only New Year's and Oman, not Christmas, not Thanksgiving, nor any other holiday. Yeah, plants and animals don't take New Year's off. That's very true. It's very wise, very insightful. So long, Mother Earth. Probably not. Because you don't know which calendar she's using. I don't even know what Oban is. Is that like White Day? Is that somewhere around there? I wouldn't even know. So the gravity only goes up during holidays and weekends. When you would be off from school? So then why is Shibuya important? Well, because our killer lives in Shibuya. That's why Shibuya is important, but still. It's a weird thing for them to note. Momose pointed to a spot in the middle of the graph, and then another, at the very far right. The latter was the last day shown. It sure looks like a heat map. Alright. 3 months ago, there was a small earthquake. You mean earthquakes? So earthquakes fuck with the gravity? Okay. It's reasonable enough, I guess. Momose ignored the two detectives and continued. Do you? Do you really, though? I remember the magnets got crazy during the earthquake. Oh, and it blew up half the half of them? I'm not a digital person. Yeah, you are. Oh. The quake was caused by the pulse? No, the news didn't say it. No, she didn't have any proof. She's just guessing. You know, you have a couple of those little cakes and suddenly you become wise to things you don't know.
人災かもって思ってだってどっちも普通じゃない
Those earthquakes didn't make any sense. They quaked the earth.
震度3っていう
What more do you need?
8人も亡くなってるし
I don't think... Sometimes people do just, die. Like, it doesn't have to be a significant thing.
そして今回は震度5で118人
118.
死にすぎって言いた
The number of fatalities doesn't make
さっきあんちゃん
sense.
言ったでしょ亡くなった方の大半はそんなの尋
It's
常
just
じゃ
a
ない
bunch of people are dead. Anything could have done it.
確か
それに空が白く染まったっていう噂もある
And then the sky got weird. That never happens.
時間が経つにつれて全く
マスコミに何らかの圧
They're
力
covering up the sky to changing color.
まさか。
明和
おそらくそうよ
マジっすか？
Who?
党明和党とつながりのある企業団体を
I don't know who that is.
もうやった
Hopefully
わよ
that doesn't mean anything important, because I don't know.
さすがももちゃん相変わらず仕事早いねで
Momose raised up her hands and stretched. She tilted her head a little, and you could hear the sound of her neck popping.
それらしい当たりはなしお手上げよ
You could hear the sound of her popping a cake into her mouth. Ha 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 ha.
お手上げって
Shocked they didn't take the opportunity for her to be shoveling more snacks.
やっぱももちゃんさんの推測が
そうかもしれないわね
I just wasted your time.
これでも結構時間かけて調べたのよ本業そっちのけでねでも行き詰まっちゃったわよほど巧妙に隠されているか
こういう
Oh, let's go with conspiracy.
から攻めてみるってのがデカの鉄則だぜ
先輩なんか心当たりあるんすか？
Bond stopped waving himself with his fan and licked his lip.
週末に G レートが上がっ
Like that, probably.
誰なんだろうな
Who would benefit? The strange voice had stopped, but I couldn't take being in the classroom anymore. I stayed in the bathroom for hours until the afternoon classes were over. The only reason I didn't go straight home was I was still hopeful I might see Rimi. So, after school ended and everyone had gone home, I went back into the empty classroom. Rimi was waiting there. She turned to me and smiled.
リシどこ行ってたの？待ってたんだよ。一緒に帰ろっか、タク。
I'm getting the feeling she's not real. She's a delusion. That's what I'm starting to think. That he's made her up because he has no ability whatsoever to talk to actual women. Well then, what about whatever his fucking name is, Misumi? What about, because he was talking to her unless he deluded Misumi talking to her. Maybe Misumi is a delusion too. Maybe everybody's a delusion. Maybe he has deluded all of these people. I thought maybe she'd be there to say that to me. I hoped that maybe, somehow, that would happen. But the classroom was empty. Nobody was waiting for me. I tried to go to the courtyard. This was where Rimi said she'd be with me. But now there was nobody here. Nothing moved but the lonely purple blooms in the flower beds, which swayed in the cold autumn wind. I took out the red handkerchief from my bag. It was the one Rimi had given me. I tried sniffing it, but the floral smell was gone. Maybe it had disappeared when I had washed it that one time. There's no way this guy's washing anything, especially not something that a girl touched. I had the handkerchief, but the scent was gone. I had the memories, but Rimi was gone. I was out here, wishing to meet a girl who maybe only existed in my head.
なんて
I was wandering the school after classes were over.
なんて救いようがないんだ
This is correct. You are. With a girl's handkerchief up against my lips, sniffing it crazy style. I was so creepy I wanted to throw up. At least he keeps saying it, but it's not stopping him from doing consistently creepy things. Maybe if he just stopped being creepy. I left the school and started to wander around the city with no real goal in mind. Aren't you, like, wanted for, for being, like, a big famous liar? I just stopped caring about everything. I wasn't even worried that Shogun or Yua might find me anymore. It'd be great if they did. It could end this fucking nonsense. If anything, I was hoping they'd just kill me. Preferably in a way that wasn't painful. Okay. My mood was one of complete depression. Ah. And seeing the way Central Shibuya looked right now only made me feel worse. Nobody had a smile on their face. Everyone was glaring at the people around them. What the fuck? My microphone just attacked me. Did you see that? Felt like a fight could break out at any moment. Just by walking around, I could see that some of the shops that would normally be bustling with customers had actually lowered their shutters all the way. Almost like an earthquake had happened here, and people are still recovering from that. Almost. And I couldn't be sure, but it looked like there were fewer cars, too. Even the loud TVs in front of the station were silent. Instead, there was the distant howling of police sirens, angry horns, and screeching tires. There were no traces of the mess I'd caused last week. Even if it wasn't gone from individuals' memories. Maybe. Oh, excuse me. Maybe it had long since vanished from the memories of the town. I wished I could forget the memories myself. To know nothing, to be ignorant, to be stupid. That must be really nice. I don't want to be stupid. That doesn't sound nice at all. Never mind, don't be stupid. Ignorance is a sin. I watched The Matrix. The bald man says ignorance is bliss as he's eating a medium rare steak. That's what Senna had said. But what's wrong with being naive? Sounds fun. I wasn't that strong. I was always looking for someone else to help me. I couldn't do anything on my own. I didn't want to do anything. Okay. I stood in the middle of the street and closed my eyes. Maybe he'll get run over here. My biggest problem right now is that I knew some things. But not everything. I knew about things like Shogun and the D-Sword. Things I didn't even want to know. But if somebody asked me what they were, I couldn't explain. I didn't have the answers. Maybe I should just die, I thought to myself as I looked up at the O front. If you die, are your memories reset so you can play again? Oh, wouldn't that be fun? Tell me, person controlling me. Alright. Your role-playing has failed completely this game. You leveled up all the wrong stats for your character. No, you were randomly assigned. You should have made him more like a hero. Somebody who is social and outgoing. Kind to women. If he admits this, why is he so shit continuously? A friend to the weak and a foe to the strong. Somebody with a sense of justice, who could choose between right and wrong. I like to play on hard mode, what can I say? You won't be able to beat the last boss with me. You won't be able to beat the game. That's fine. Don't have any hopes for me, reset the game. Please, I'm worthless, delete me. But I wasn't deleted. Sadly. Instead, somebody slammed into my shoulder. I thought I was hallucinating again. This morning I'd hallucinated a girl's voice, so now it was a man's voice maybe. Nobody wanted to hear a man's voice. Give me something moe, something hot. So yeah, that's hot. And then have her whisper naughty things in my ear, and I'll get a boner even though I'm in the middle of town. If only you had randomly selected somebody who was not shitty. Yeah. Oh, sweet, more bullies. Let's go. That's right, that's me. No. I ain't got one red cent.
ちょっと顔貸せよエスパー君
Girl, I don't even know you. And nobody even there. I opened my eyes. There were 3 men surrounding me. They were all wearing baggy clothes. They had gold, silver, and brown hair. 2 of them had piercings in their ears and nose. One just had piercing in his ears. They were stereotypical thugs, dressed like something you would have seen years ago. If anything, they belonged in a museum. It belongs in a museum. Well, there's the death flag. Or was this another thing where I was experiencing the bad route that came after I made the wrong choice? The bad stuff just kept coming. I don't even care anymore. Just kill me so I can be reset and reborn. Do you have a knife on you or something? When you stab me, make sure I die instantly, okay? I was so scared my knees were shaking. No, he's asking for help. I shouted out of pure instinct. It was closer to a scream than a shout, but I didn't care. I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. I lied when I said I didn't care. I care tremendously. I know some things in life are bad. They can really make you mad. But I don't want to die. One put a hand over my mouth so I couldn't scream, and then the other 2 grabbed my arms. Yeah, make more noise. Ah, he stopped resisting. They took me to an empty alleyway. As they grinned at me, I decided to launch a preemptive attack. Or whimper and piss himself. I got down on my knees and begged in a shaky voice. He ain't got no money, come on now. One of the DQNs snatched it out of my hands. Rich, you got like $50. Oh fuck, that guy laughed like rent was due. Holy shit. I let out a sigh of relief as I kneeled on the ground. It looked like they were going to let me go. Dude, who cares? Just keep screaming. Look like you be crazy. Oh, damn. Whoever's playing Nameless Accoster number 2, giving it his all. Fighting for his fucking life out here. I felt a sharp pain in my side. I might have broken a rib. I couldn't breathe. I was passing out. I was feeling dizzy. Then I saw the foot of the DQN in front of me. It was coming toward my face at an incredible speed. Fuck. Sounded like somebody hit a watermelon. What happened? I felt like there was an incredible pain in my face, but maybe it was a delusion. I tried to open my eyes, but my eyelids wouldn't move. The darkness wouldn't go away. Hey, conscious, am I dead? He got a fucking one-punch man him. Holy shit. Sure.
ボコボコにしてくれって言ってた。こいつボコるだけで金くれるなんて、よっぽどこいつのこと嫌いなのかもな。
Well. Damn. All right, brother. It's fucking performance of a lifetime. Holy shit. I respect it. My God. Boom. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to kill you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to kill you. Gue. This is so... Ah! It sounded like Miss Fowl from Jimmy Neutron. Ah! Wow, you destroyed that guy without even touching him.
なんだそれ。おい、よせ。やめろ。やめて。やだ。
Gabwa. Gabwa. Ga. Ah. Come on, you ain't got nothing else for that other guy going, ah! Oh, fuck. Who let him in there? The weak light of the setting sun was pouring through the window of the hospital room. The color of sunset split the room cleanly between light and shadow. Inside the light was a bed with pure white sheets, a portable gaming system sitting by the pillow. I'll see one. Rows of academic books sitting on a shelf. Light pink cosmos flowers sitting in a vase. The room was neat and organized. Nothing moved. It was a room where time had stopped. Near the window, where the sunlight shone through, there was someone small, sitting in a wheelchair. His back was to the window, and he wasn't moving. His breathing was so gentle and deep, you'd wonder if he might be... His breathing was deep, so he's... Maybe he's dead. His skin was wrinkled. His cheeks caved in. His eyes sank deep into his skull. He had no hair at all on his head. How do you know? He's wearing a big fucking beanie. Looking at him, it was unclear if he was a boy or an old man. At this point, why not both? The shadow of one who called himself Shogun stretched all the way to the room's door. For the first time, the world moved. The door slowly opened, and someone came from the dark hallway into the evening light. Rimi Sakihara stood at the entrance to the room. She didn't come in any further. The setting sun illuminated her face, revealing the tension in her expression. Pictured here. Can't we just forget about it? Yeah, you really should. She's got a point. She's like, I pretended to be this dude's friend for like 45 minutes and, nope, lost cause. Get rid of him. Shogun didn't respond to her words at all. Oh no, that's true. Probably not in the way that she's trying to, the way she's trying to tell him, but he is certainly dangerous. There was a sadness and pain in her voice. She may not have realized it, but there were tears in her eyes. Aw, that's her friend. Yeah, go ahead. Take your sword and just run him through. Aw. Nimi couldn't tell if his lips were even moving. Nimi's head slumped forward. Her hair fell forward along with it, and she brushed it back with her fingers. Yeah. No, that sucks for you. That's a you problem. Based on what? That just means you get longer, you sleep well. I nap a lot. What, dreams?
実際の時間としては寝ているうちの
Oh,
2、3
yeah,
秒程度
yeah.
のものなんだって。心の歌方なの。だから早く目覚めて
Yeah, quit dreaming. Dreaming's for losers, so stop it.
出ないと。あなたは西条匠に殺されちゃう。
Oh, no.
それでも構わないよ。
Oh, then who cares?
夢から覚めるわけにはいかない。
I'm stuck here.
この夢は
Need to see it through. Gotta use some vague proper nouns here.
完結した夢の後には何が残るの？
I don't know. Electricity, brain matter. Someone softly shook my shoulders. It was a very hesitant shake, and after the one time they quickly pulled away. Someone was peering into my face. At least that's what it felt like. I was slowly beginning to wake up. And you're gonna have a face full of girl. That's what's coming. And I bet you it's gonna be like the little girl, because she's been the only one who's not really been a part of the story other than getting knocked over. Something stunk. Bad. It was a strong, raw scent. The scent of blood. Ugh. The area around my upper lip stung. There was a metallic taste all throughout my mouth. I slowly opened my eyes. Yep, there she is. The one girl who hasn't really been involved in anything yet. I was in the alley I'd been in a moment ago. I was lying face down on the asphalt. Right in front of me was a pool of dark brown water that looked like it had dripped out of a garbage bag. Man, I couldn't have written a better joke. I winced at the awful stench and stood up like this dude gets punched and he bleeds garbage juice. My whole body ached. The area around my face hurt the most. It was hot and stinging, like someone had brought a lighter right up close to my face. And this girl who speaks only in like fucking pants. There was a girl leaning down right next to me, looking at me like she was about to cry. It was the transfer student. The girl who transferred into my class. Oh, is that what the transfer student is? The girl who transferred into? You said, did she transfer? Is that, how do you know that? How do you know she's the transfer student? Is it because she transferred in? God, this overworded nonsense. What was her name again? Uhara? Orihara? What was she doing here? Nice to meet you. She offered me something. My wallet. Why did she have it? I killed them. She fucking Anakin Skywalkered those guys. The men, but the women and the children too. I ate them. I looked around, still feeling woozy. Ah, the 3 DQNs who'd been hassling me were lying on the ground covered in blood. Pictured here. What the hell happened here? They'd gotten the crap kicked out of them. All of their faces were so smashed in I could barely recognize them. Were they dead? They weren't moving at all. Was this the 7th New Gen incident? Who could have done this? Was it me? Just, how about me? Did I do that? The transfer student stood up and beckoned to me, her face pale. She kept looking at me, and then the 3 men on the ground, tears forming in the corners of their eyes. And then suddenly she grabbed my hand and started to run. Run away and never return. When we got out to the main street, she finally let go. We hadn't run that far, but she was already exhausted. So it couldn't be her. She's too easily winded. We both fell silent. Maybe she was like me, not really good at talking to other people. She at least makes noise. She just goes... No, that didn't matter right now. What was going on here? Those 3 DQNs picked a fight with me and were beating me up. I must have passed out. I wondered how long I was lying there. Whoa. She only speaks telepathically and also has a cutesy little, what would you call that? Like a little tick or a flare at the end of all of her speech. It's great. Awesome. Huh? There it is again. I was hearing it again. I thought that maybe somebody I knew was close by and talking to me, but I couldn't see anybody else around. Crap. Why was I suddenly hearing things? Oh no, she can read his thoughts. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, little kid. You don't want to... You just was reading this guy's thoughts this whole time? You don't want to be hanging out with him. I would steer clear. I would have let those... You know, it's not good for people to just be beating the shit out of somebody in the middle of the street. But if you'd have read that guy's thoughts, maybe he deserved it. Maybe my brain had been pushed so close to the brink that I had to make another personality to survive, and it was this girl. Oh my god, maybe that is the story. When he's in dire straits, he creates girls. Ew. Jesus Christ. There's a fucking horrid harem for you. Maybe I did have multiple personalities, like Yua said. I'd heard once before that normally different personalities couldn't communicate with each other. Maybe I was the exception. Now, I saw the movie Split. Whoever has the light is good to go. I was getting so tired of this. Join the fucking club, Takumi Nishijo. Was I eventually going to start hearing the voices of other personalities too, besides this obnoxious Kozabi one? How many personalities were inside me anyway? I'd read in some book that there was a patient with 24 personalities somewhere in America. And what was more, I didn't even know if my personality was the primary one. A different personality might be the actual owner of Takumi Nishijo's body. As I stood there in shock, the transfer student poked me. As she did, she tried to whisper something but seemed to fail. Instead, she nervously raised her hand. Kozue Orihara. But because she's like a little girl, she has to have a cutesy name, so it's Kozabi. Kozue Orihara. I vaguely remembered hearing the name a long time ago from Misumi. Kozue. Kozubi? No way. Bone stick stupid. So you're sending this voice directly inside my head? She nodded again and again as hard as she could. Fucking head banging. Only to you, though. That's impossible. I mean, have you not been watching your life for the last... Gosh, how long have I been playing this game? 23 hours? So this voice was actually coming from the girl in front of me? It's never Daijobu. Her head was still slumped forward, but her eyes were turned up at me. She pointed a finger at my face. It was shaking. No matter what it is that he's dripping, it's not good. You could just say he is a drip. That would suffice. I touched my face. The area under my nose was wet. My nose had been bleeding. She took out a pack of tissues from her pocket. I used it to wipe away the blood, feeling really creeped out. Ooh, blood. The transfer student.
コズピーだよ。
Kozapi's mouth wasn't moving. She wasn't speaking. So how could I hear her?
心の声なのら。
Stop ending your sentences like that. It's weird when 3D girls do it.
ごめん。
Why would you do that? Wait, you can hear my thoughts too?
聞こえるよ。
Rutro,
普通に話さないなんで
why don't you? Fuck you, buddy. Fuck you the long way.
恥ずかしいし。
Girl, same. I see. I understood how that felt. I was the same way. Embarrassing. Her gaze suddenly darted back and forth like a little animal before glancing at me and walking off toward the station on her own.
ここ離れた方がいいと思う。
Anyway, I'm abandoning you now. Bye. Why? I followed, confused. As I walked, I realized something. There was a stabbing pain in my side. Each step I took ached so much that I had to stop. I held my side and took a moment to catch my breath. There were so many people here. I hated Shibuya. It felt like everybody I passed was laughing at me. They probably were. It felt like everybody was looking at me. That's probably less true. They steal a quick glance. It's like, hey, isn't that weird guy? That is that weird guy. Let's laugh at him. I started to feel like everybody knew who I was. You know, he had that Yoshikage Kira motivation. He just wanted to live a plain, boring life, but then he had to do a whole bunch of weird shit, and now all of his victims are going to take him into super hell. So, hopefully that's what awaits Takumi Nishijo. Don't look at me. Don't laugh at me. I need to rest somewhere without a lot of people around. Like my base. Or just follow the little girl. I'd only met Kozapi a few times at school, but now she was like a completely different person. Yeah, met her at school, watched her fall down a flight of stairs, and I just went, I can't deal with this, and then left. Amazing. Even though in the real world she was completely silent, in her mind she was.
わあ、今うるさい女って考えた。
Ubu. 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 It was convenient to be able to talk to somebody mentally, but it was also obnoxious. And wait a second, how does this even work? Was it a real psychic power?
やっぱりコズピーのこと気味悪い。
Then again, everybody is, so, I mean, you're probably low on the scale of creepiness.
こんなの普通じゃないし。
The fact that it's not normal doesn't really bother me. I've met a lot of weird people lately. And you might talk funny, but you're not scary or crazy. She killed the shit out of those guys who were beating the piss out of you. I'd say she's crazy. She's helping you and actively talking to you. That makes her crazy.
そう言ってもらえるとうるうるってなっちゃうのら。
Kozapi suddenly started to cry. Surprised I handed back the bloody tissues. Wipe your eyes on these. Just get a little bit of my blood in your eyes. That should be fine. She wiped her eyes with one of them, giving me a bow that was deeper than it needed to be. It's a weird way of saying that. So, anyway. Having you read all my thoughts is creepy and uncomfortable too. That's my honest opinion. I think a lot of weird shit, and I don't want you to read it. Granted, I feel like everybody would agree with that. I would not want any random person on the street knowing what I'm thinking at any given time. This is where the private stuff happens.
そうだよ。
There's a filter from here to here. Yeah.
ごめんなさい。でも聞きたくなくても聞こえちゃうの。
Anya. Is that true?
そうなの。
Well, I'm sure you don't want to hear that from a creepy otaku. Like me, of course. I am a creepy loser. Totally worthless. Endearing.
そんなことない。
You haven't been listening to this fuck's thoughts very long. I have been listening to his thoughts for 23 hours. He is worthless and a loser. Just as I was starting to go back into depression mode, I heard Kozapi shout in my mind.
ダメだよ。そんなこと言っちゃ。そんな悲しいこと。
He is sad. He is sad. That's the whole point. He sucks. I think you're gonna have to learn that, Orihara. There's just some people you're gonna meet who are just fucking losers. Why are you crying? Are you crying? Are you pitying me? If so, you don't need to do that. I'm such a weirdo. I make up girls in my head and pretend they're real. Like Rimi.
それって咲畑さんじゃなかった。咲畑さんのこと？
You know her?
だってクラスメートだよ。西条くんの彼女さんなのら。
No, she's not.
あ、違うの？てっきりそうだとばっかり。
I mean, I was reading your thoughts. Kozabi knew Rimi. That can only mean one thing. That Rimi was real. Or that Kozabi is fake, too. She wasn't a delusion. She wasn't somebody I'd invented in my head. She was a real person.
そうか。
Phew. But then why wouldn't she make any effort to contact me? She's just not that into you, buddy. I was like, you don't always have to be in constant contact with everybody all of the time. Maybe she'd given up on me after what happened at O-Front. That'd be valid and be fair.
地震があったあの日、青い顔をして早退して、それ以来学校来てないよ。もしかして家族に何か悲しいことがあった。
Something rubble related. Oh. I felt so much better. Maybe her family died. Oh. Well, that makes me feel so much better. What the fuck? This goddamn guy. Knowing that Rimi hadn't given up on me after all made me feel like I was really going to cry. I had a reason to go to school again. I wanted to see Rimi. Until she came back, I would keep forcing myself to go to school every day.
気をつけてね。
Yeah, be careful. Everybody in the school wants to beat the shit out of you. Huh?
西条くんが咲畑さんと付き合ってるって思ってたから。
But.
言わなかった。咲畑さんには気をつけて。
She has a sword and she'll kill you. What does that mean?
咲畑さんはよくわかんないのら。
What does that mean? You don't understand her? What does that mean? You mean the crucified murder? What does that mean? Or are you talking about how all my memories of her being my classmate since our first year were missing? What does that mean? She was still mysterious in a lot of ways, sure. But she'd been there for me so many times. When I was scared, she offered to be by my side. She wasn't my enemy. Yow. For some reason, Kozapi looked dizzy. Sure.
そんなに一度にいっぱい考えられると。コズピーついていきにゃい。
If you think too many thoughts, I struggle. Stop thinking so much. Sorry. It was kind of strange. When I was talking to people, I always had trouble getting out even a fifth of what I was trying to say. But talking like this might mean I'd have to work on not thinking too much. It was probably the same for Kozabi. Now, if that means that you inner monologue less, I didn't think she'd talk so much in her mind.
喋ってるっていう感覚は薄いよ。考えてるだけ。それが流れ込むだけ。相手には
She's talking? Her mouth's moving.
からはドバーって慣れてないと自分の思考と相手の思考がごちゃごちゃってなってニヤーってなるの。
She's making ya noises. Pulls to speak Japanese. I mean, I kind of get the nuance, but I guess she meant that there are none of the more subtle points of conversation. And you never have to worry about being too scared about what the other person would think and not be able to say what you wanted to say. You couldn't try to read the room if every single thought you had was being shared. It wasn't one-way communication, but maybe it wasn't two-way communication either. Maybe it was trying to focus on one out of a million things at once and ignoring the rest. Oh, is she gonna go, oh, yeah, too much thinking.
だから気楽だし距離感も近いけど傷つくことも簡単なの。
As people are just like, oh, look at this fucking little kid. Out of my face, little kid. Oh. She frowned for a moment, but then an expression appeared on her face that was halfway between a smile and a sob.
西条くんは初めてなのにすんごく上手だよ。
Hmm.
コズピーとビビビが合うの。
Beep, 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 huh? I'm a Jeep? Maybe she was saying we were on the same wavelength.
そう波長波長。
Okay. Well, I was always having similar conversations in my head with Sedaton. Maybe that was why.
でもでも
I wouldn't think about Sedaton right now, brother.
怖かったの。オーピー。
Oopie. Then.
今日の朝教室で
Yeah, you want everybody to fucking die, you goddamn psychopath. Crap. Come to think of it, I'd had some really weird, nasty delusions.
だからうひゃーって思ってつい声をかけちゃったのら。本当はなるべくこの力を他の人に知られないようにしようって決めてたのに。
No, I was kind of in a bad place this morning, and, well, it was just a delusion. Ha ha. Yeah, most people would find that disgusting. Most people find you disgusting, Takumi Nishijo.
きっとそれを本当にやってたらコズピーは西条くんを
Murdered you on the spot.
殺してたよ。
Hell yeah, get him. Should kill him now. Why even... You know. Why wait? Huh? The gap between her tone and her words made me shiver. Anyway, moving past that, we walked through Center Street silently, talking to each other in our minds, and headed out to Inokashira Street. If you didn't know the truth, you might think from the way that we were walking along silently, without really looking at each other, that we were a couple that had just started dating. I don't think I would assume that. I would assume she was your little sister, because she looks like a child. Yeah, she didn't like that. No, it was just a hypothetical.
まだうひゃーってさせられたのら。西条くんにラブラブラブ告白されたかと。
God. Sorry. It's hard when somebody can hear your every thought. It was probably best to keep my delusions to a minimum when talking to Kozabi. You gotta understand, Kozabi, I am narrating for an audience of gamers. TM.
聞きたい。先週の西条くんがテレビに
How did it feel, you fucking freak? You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
それ決めつけ
He said as we're talking telepathically. Oh, boo.
あの時下にいたんだよ
Past your bedtime. Below.
スクランブル交差点ハチ公口の改札前ちょうど通りかあの時ずっと声西条くんの声ナナミちゃんを助けたい助けなきゃって
And then you didn't.
聞こえたよ
My thoughts carried that far? There was a pretty big distance between the roof of O Front and the turnstiles at the station.
それだけあの時の西条くんの思いは強
So now you don't have to feel bad about failing. You thought about it hard. It's like it's the thought that counts. It's like how strong the thought that counts. So you would know then. You'd know I wasn't up there pretending to be a psychic for attention. Oh, she's talking.
だから価値はなく
Even though it still has the echo.
なく
I'm not that concerned that they missed it. I'm assuming she's not supposed to ever talk. But in the end, I failed. I chose to save my own life instead of saving hers. I ran away at the last minute. Ow, got an itch on my leg. Kozapi stopped right in front of the Roft building. She pointed at the entrance as she looked at me. This was, evidently, the place she wanted to take me. Roft was a store that sold cosmetics, kitchenware, and little knickknacks. The occasional paddywhack, with a bone given to a dog. I couldn't imagine there being any place to rest there. It was a cramped space that was filled with people. My legs were shaking. The cheers and angry yells I'd heard that night in Scramble Crossing started to echo in my mind. I didn't want to go anywhere with so many people around. If I went inside the Roft, there'd be nowhere to run. Now you got nowhere to run. Oh, good. It'll be Daijo Boom. Look at all these blurry-ass people hanging out in here. She ignored my fear and headed inside. I had no choice but to quickly follow, trying my best not to look at the people around me. That guy's jeans are incredibly textured. When we got on the up escalator, Kozapi turned around to look at me. She was a step above me, but she was so tiny we were at about the same height.
ナナミちゃんは助かったんだよねだったら西条くん
How on earth do you figure? I hadn't been the one to save her. I hadn't really done anything, because I can't do anything, because I fucking suck, man.
屋上から手を伸ばしてたよね
And that's good enough.
何をしようとしたの
Fly.
ビョーンって飛ぼうとしたのかな
Damn it, I hate it when they steal my jokes. No, I was trying to get a sword. Duh. It's made out of delusions, and I could kind of see it from up there on the roof.
理想度
What? You know what it is? Yeah, that's right. They said if I stretched out my hand, I could grab it, but it didn't work.
なんで
I suddenly shouted aloud. A couple on the down escalator opposite us glared at me and quickly put my hand over my mouth. I just think of the SpongeBob meme of the guy with the sandwich just going whenever this guy walks by. Kozapi, how do you know about the D swords?
コズピーも持っているもん
Hooray! Wield it. We got off the escalator at the 5th floor, and Kozapi casually raised her right hand above her head. Interesting that the 5th floor looked exactly like the 1st floor. It was just like she was trying to block out the brightness of the sun. Suddenly, a light appeared in midair next to her hand. No, it wasn't a light. It was a line. You could say it looked like a wireframe. Rays of light overlapped in what had only a moment ago been empty space. Something that looked like a snowboard? Then rays of blue light, brighter, and brighter than the rays of the wireframe, streamed out of it. Kozubi closed her opened hand. This is just a big razor blade. It looks like they took the blade of the Buster Sword and put the handle in the middle. So that way nobody could sue them, because like, yeah, it's got no materia slots. Leave us alone, Square. What had been a wireframe instead became a heavy, cold slab of metal. Like someone had pasted textures on it. A weird way of putting that. A D-Sword. It looked completely different than the ones Ayase and Senna had, but it had the same kind of intensity about it. It does look quite intense. It was far too malevolent to be a simple board, and far too unadorned to be a sword. It combined an innocent ferocity with a destructive beauty. It's a big rectangle with a handle in the middle. And she held it above her like it weighed nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. That thing was too big to be swinging around indoors. There were other people around her too. If she hurt someone, it could be really bad. Just random people getting decapitated in a department store by a fake sword. I think everybody's gonna be fine. Don't mind me just swinging this fucking guillotine around. Watching her holding it made me feel like I was going to have a heart attack. Oh no. Whether she knew of my worries or not, Kozupi lowered the blade from above her head and began to spin. She looked like she was having the time of her life. Fucking Vance Joseph style? That's good. Good for her. Okay. Beats up the bad people. Something about her words made my heart start beating faster. Something was wrong. That's when I remembered the smell. The smell of evil. I remembered how I'd seen those DQNs lying in puddles of their own blood. Boom, boom. So they were dead after all. Nope. Roachy Roach. It's like grossy gross. Oh, yeah, that is depressing. I could tell exactly how her heart was feeling when she said those words. There wasn't any malice inside her. As far as she was concerned, she was just giving bad people what they deserved. And there was nothing wrong with that at all. She might be twisted too, in a different way than me. Kozupi started walking again, carrying the huge D-Sword in her hands. She was tiny, with thin arms. She looked so weak, and yet she didn't seem to struggle at all with the heavy-looking weapon. Many times the blade came close to slamming into a shelf or a nearby shopper, and each time I covered my eyes, but miraculously, it didn't hit anyone. Hooray! We ended up in a stairwell. It was dimly lit, and unlike the rest of the floor we were on, there was nobody here at all. Nobody came by either. It was shocking to me that just 5 minutes from Shibuya Station and inside the Roft building, one of the most famous stores in Japan, there was a space that could be this empty. It's clearly a delusion. Come on. I'm going to need you to pick up on things going on here. Takumi Nishijo. They're happening to you. That's not true. I'd lived in Shibuya for almost 2 years and didn't know that. How had she figured it out in just a few weeks?
コズピーは東京に来てから毎日渋谷を歩き回ってたのら。それで見つけたの。憩いの場所だよ。
Kozupi sat down on the steps, clearly in a good mood. She casually set the D-sword down next to her. The pain in my side was getting too much for me to bear, so I decided to take a
そ
rest.
れで景色とか模様とか見ると別のものが見えたりしないかな。ゾウさんとかウサギさんとかライオンさんとか。
Oh my.
一番おーって思ったのはオオサンショウウオさんに見えてた時。
What was she talking about? Did I type that in?
理想度の話ですよ。うっぶ
Ooh, boo.
何かの模様とか景色とか見ると動物さんとかいろ
Oh,
んな
that? Yeah, I'd seen that before. I tried to see something like that on top of the O-front building and succeeded. I'd seen the D-sword blended in with the scenery.
ピンポンです。コズピーが最初に見えた時はハムポンポンが死んじゃった時。
Hamponpon?
小学生の時飼ってたハムスター。ほいで
That's what gave you access to a sword.
作ってあげようって土手に。でもスコップ忘れてお墓作れなくてうみゃーって泣いていたらお空にこの剣の形が見えた。
It really was. I thought it was just going to be a joke, but her hamster dying gave her access to a fucking sword.
それからはいろんなところでよく見るようになったのら。
How'd you get it, though? I'd found it, but I couldn't grab it. No matter how much I reached out, I couldn't touch it or grab it.
ただ願ったんだよ。
I just diluted it. It's not enough to dilute it into existence. You also have to dilute it into your inventory. Wished. You wished to get the sword? But I did that too. Loudly. Kozubi looked up at me, softly shaking her head.
違うのら。願ったのはね、殺してやりたいっていうこと。
I wished to murder. To kill who? I could hear the voice of her mind clearly within my own. I hadn't mistaken it. I'd heard exactly what she said. My wish was to kill. She'd said it with a smile, too. The stairs leading up from the 5th floor of the Roft building to its 6th floor were very quiet. You could only faintly hear the music coming from the shops. She didn't say a word, and neither did I. I could hear somebody's breath loudly in my ears. Was it hers? No, it was mine. A staircase where nobody came. Wink. A blind spot in the dead center of Shibuya. An air pocket. I gulped down saliva to wet my suddenly parched throat. Like so.
そう願いながら、みゆーってさ。
All you gotta do is want to kill really, really bad. And then you get a D-sword.
でも、その時まで剣とは思ってなかったよ。なんだ、あれでブーンってやったら殺せるかなって無意識に手を伸ばしたら本当につかめたのら。
And then what happened? What did you do? Killed them all.
殺そうとした
Of
けど
course.
できなかった。
Aw.
コズピーの力じゃ半殺しにするのが
Aw.
いっぱいだったので。
She was so close. This girl was broken.
壊れてないよ。ここに
She was gazing lovingly at the sword next to her. I could tell from the way she was looking at it that she had complete trust in it. Her mind was telling me the same thing. Maybe I couldn't get the D-sword unless I was broken too. Wait, did this mean I wasn't broken already?
この剣が怖くて仕方なかった。
That's what she thought until she came to Tokyo. Let's go, Tokyo! But now she felt differently. Now it was something precious, something very important to her. As long as she had the sword, there was nothing to be scared of. The sword would protect her. The sword was her heart. It was her other self. It was about 3 weeks ago that she'd changed her mind. Kozue always had the power to hear what other people were thinking. She couldn't remember anymore when she'd first realized she'd had it. She'd thought she'd gone crazy, or that she was sick. In her own childish way, she thought that she couldn't let anybody find out. She hadn't told anybody, not even her parents. Because of her power, she couldn't make any friends. It created a rift between her and her family, too. All the people around her started to think she was creepy, that her intuition was a little too good. She hadn't learned to game the system yet. She just wasn't good enough. Even after coming to Shibuya, she'd been scared to go to school. She hadn't wanted to talk to anybody. She thought they'd just find her creepy again. The first day, she was supposed to go to school, and the day after that, and even the day after that, she'd skipped school, and spent the day wandering around Shibuya instead. She knew the school must have contacted her parents. They must have known Kozue wasn't going, but the two of them didn't say anything to her at all. Because who fucking cares? Kozue looked young enough to be mistaken for a middle schooler, and yet, unlike back home in the countryside, nobody stopped her when she was out in the middle of the day. She'd spent days wandering around Shibuya. She found her little peaceful spot in the Roft stairwell, and every day she'd go up there to sit. One day she'd spent almost 4 hours there, until the sun finally began to set. Then she'd left Roft to go home. Raindrops were pouring from the dull gray sky. She hadn't brought an umbrella, but she neither looked up at the sky nor seemed to care about getting wet. She simply headed home through the rain on unsteady feet. Then she saw something in the corner of her eye. Ugh. It was a sign that read, "The end is near." That looks like Yasujiban. The handwritten text was blurring in the rain. Holding the board was a homeless man sitting unobtrusively on the side of the road in the middle of the pouring rain. His head was slumped forward, and she couldn't see his expression. He might have been dead. I mean, he's blinking. That's something. The way he looked reminded her of how she'd looked sitting in the Roft stairwell. She stopped. For a moment she hesitated. She'd never met this man, and had never seen a homeless person until she came to Tokyo. Jesus Christ, he looked repulsive. She was scared that if she talked to him, something horrible might happen to her. Yikes. But there was another desire that won out over her fear. A desire to kill him. It was such a sudden, strong impulse that she thought that if she obeyed it, she might be able to kill herself too. So, after a short moment's hesitation, she spoke to him with the voice in her mind. Suddenly, his shoulders twitched. He wasn't dead after all. He slowly raised his head. His cloudy eyes peered through his soaked hair as he looked up at her. Oh, okay. All right. Kozue's eyes went a little wide with surprise. Not at being told the world would end, but at the fact that the man had replied to her. She hadn't expected a reply. Most people she spoke to like this either tried to convince themselves they were hearing things or got scared and quickly left. Even if she did succeed in communicating with somebody, it was hard for them to send back such a straightforward, understandable reply. Doing so was difficult. Human thought was disordered and random. That's true. But the man hadn't seemed surprised at all. Instead, he'd given her a short, simple answer, because the world's just gonna fucking end. He's just like, yeah, alright. This is nothing. Through his voice, she could feel a deep sadness filling his heart. His heart was crying. You crying? That's how it felt to her. Whoever I am. She put a hand above her head and summoned her D-sword. She pointed the blade at him. You trying to die?
おじさんが悪い人だからだよ。
I've been a bad, bad man.
すまない。
Yes, I'm a bad man. Wham, wham. Yeah, I'm a bad man.
どうして謝るの？
おじさんのせいなんだ。
Oh no.
どうしておじさん
Wait a minute, doesn't Takumi Nishijo have like purple hair like that? Is that Takumi Nishijo?
忠告しかできないから。
Is everybody just like a version of Takumi Nishijo? Like we're playing as one version of him, this guy is another version of him, and then Shogun is like a future version where he becomes like Benjamin Button or something.
動き出してしまったか
Nothing can stop it now.
ら。もうおじさんには
じゃあおじさんを殺せばコズピーは悪くなく
その剣は君を殺すものに
That sword can kill you and it can protect you.
思い出してごらん。
It's the old Tetsaiga versus Tenseiga question.
空を見れば
The sword that saves lives or the sword that takes them.
川を見れば流れがそこにあったはず。それと同じこと。その剣は
The sword was always with you.
そばにあった。自分自
Your
身
sword will always be with you.
そこにあるのがその剣なんだよ。
でも殺したいって願ったら
That's fine.
これが手元にある
It is a sword.
この剣はコズピーとコズピーの周囲にある
負の感情は
I don't know.
否定されるもの。人が誰しも持つものだから。
Yeah, everybody's negative. Sometimes you just want to kill everybody around you, you know? That's totally the type of message you should be sending.
特別じゃないんだ。
You're not special.
どうも
You're not perfect.
だよ。目をそらしてはいけない。自分
I mean, you
を
can.
否定してはいけない。
You can also do that.
世界を
Not recommended, though.
君の心の中にある性。同時にふとなりうる。その逆もまた。世界が終わるのか。
Whether the world ends or continues to live
君
on,
たちだけの
it is up to you children to decide. The adults have left the world in an awful place. Best of luck. In the end, she hadn't killed the man. The desire to do so receded as they spoke. She didn't understand what the man was trying to say, but she thought and thought as hard as she could, and finally reached a conclusion. The sword was her. She'd looked at it without denying it, and it had saved her. That's why she'd come to depend on it, in her own pure-hearted way. Pure-hearted? She wants to murder, crazy style. What are you talking about? Something in Kozapi's story made me curious. Who was that man? A homeless man with a big sign. Felt like I'd seen him a few times before. Were they the same person? What I couldn't figure out is how the guy would know about the D-swords. Maybe the D-swords were famous in Japan and I just didn't know it. Nah, there's no way. I know about everything. I looked over at Kozabi. Her expression was so calm and peaceful, it was hard to believe she'd been talking about killing people a moment ago. She ran her fingers softly along the surface of the D-sword.
そういえばあのおじさん別れ際にこんなこと言って君たちは特別な存在だ
Isn't that special?
中でも一番特別なのは
Is Takumi Nishijo?
を生み出した
Yeah, of
少年
course. He's so special.
らしいんだって
Made a jump scare sting. That's also the menu sound effect. What did that mean? What does this mean? Why did you say that name?
西条くん心当たりあるの
Not a clue.
いや、
嘘ら心は正直なんだよ西条くんは今
Crap, it's hard when somebody knows your every thought. I'm trying to lie to you. Will you stop?
考えてるなんか怖い顔になその目誰の目って西条
'Twas
くん
me.
が最初に考え
I bit my lip and stood up. I pulled out the tissues I'd stuffed in my nose. The blood had stopped. Kozapi was looking up at me confused.
たどこへ
Away from you. I'm going home. Fue. Bye-bye. My side still hurt, but I walked down the stairs instead of using the escalator or the elevator. That way I was able to avoid the crowds on my way out. Kozubi followed me hesitantly at a distance, looking like she was about to cry.
コズピー、何か怒らせるようなこと言ったかな。
I ignored Kozupi's question and tried my hardest to think. This homeless man that Kozupi had met, was he working with Shogun? Otherwise, why would he bring up Whose Eyes Are Those? Who was the boy they were talking about who'd created Whose Eyes Are Those? Me? No, that couldn't be right. I wasn't a special boy. I wasn't a hero, not a special boy. I couldn't even get a D-sword. I wanted to just be an ordinary person, an NPC even. I didn't want to be special. I never wanted to go through anything like what happened at O-Front again. But then who was he talking about? I only know one other boy, and he's even less of a character than I am. I can only think of one possibility. The true new-gen killer, Shogun. He might have looked like an old man, but he had the voice and figure of a young boy. And there was something clearly weird about him, too. He was special. 2 of the 6 new-gen cases had involved the message, "Whose eyes are those?" It was a phrase I'd only ever used in my head. What could this seemingly innocuous phrase mean? Did it hide the reason that Shogun was after me? Should I try looking for that homeless man? He should be somewhere in the city. He was probably still carrying the sign with the weird message on it, too. I'm just going to wander a gigantic city looking for a single random homeless person? Yes, I'm going to go accost the unhoused. Because I'm looking for one with a sign. What would I do if I found him? I stopped, and then I shook my head and rejected the idea. What good would it do to find him? I might just be putting myself in more danger. He might be one of Shogun's servants, trying to lure me into a trap. What if I went to find the guy and triggered another quest? That's a candy bar, isn't it? Or a cookie? I'd experienced more than enough fear and pain already. Probably the same for Kozupi. Why did she come to me with the ability to speak directly into my mind right now? Maybe she was like Yua, taking orders from Shogun. Oops. From all that stuff she'd said about killing, or almost killing, people, she might even be involved with the new gen murders. And Rimi had disappeared after the incident at O-Front. She'd stopped contacting me. Ayase was in the hospital after a failed suicide attempt. Nanami was safe, but the 2 people who were my allies were gone. Was there any guarantee that Rimi would come back? Was it even true that she'd just stopped coming to school? I only had Kozupi's word for that. And I couldn't tell if Kozupi was lying or not. I could feel the hairs on my body begin to stand up on end. My world was just an empty, desolate place. I had nothing to believe in. Everything seemed like a lie.
それは被害妄想なの。
Quit talking shit about Kozupi, Nora. Kozupi was standing right behind me. Her internal voice was as happy as ever. She was carrying her wicked-looking D-sword in her hands and looking up at me innocently. I looked away. Are you on my side or my enemy? Which? Did you come to kill me?
コズピーはただ
Just murder. Kozupi suddenly let out a weird shout. I looked up in surprise to see that she wasn't looking at me, but waving her hand off in a random direction. Did she say Senna? Oh, don't tell me. I followed where she was looking, and sure enough, Senna Aoi was walking toward us, holding a D-sword and looking like she was in an extremely bad mood. I tensed up and got ready to run. What was Senna doing here? Was this another coincidence, or a carefully planned trap? Did the 2 of them know each other? Given that she just said her name, I would imagine, yeah, they do. If so, had Kozupi called her? Maybe the 2 of them could kill me together.
だからそれは
but I don't know what to believe in. I'd met Senna several times, and she'd never tried to hurt me. But that didn't mean she wasn't my enemy, and she was scary.
セナさんは怖くないよ。
Kozupi, don't say that where she can hear it.
怖い？何のことだ？
Just like I thought, Senna could hear Kozupi's voice, too.
なんでもないです。
I was freaking out, but Kozupi looked really happy. She was still staring at the ground, but she was smiling as she tugged at the hem of Senna's shirt. The sight of the two of them was so heartwarming that I started to feel stupid for being nervous. They say that when they ram a sword into your gut. They were like sisters, the strong-willed big sister and the timid little sister who looked up to her more than anyone else in the world. I know where this is going. God. You easily die. Just kill him. Just kill him. Who cares? No one will miss him. Just do it. Come on, Kozupi. Read his thoughts and go, ugh. Right here. Just send the sword right there. It'll go out right there, and it'll be over. Were they in different grades? Maybe they were both connected by the fact that they had swords. Or maybe they both worked for Shogun. I got into a cat's paw stance, so I could run at any I'll run. Specifically, I stood up on my tiptoes. Oh. Supposedly this made it so you could run really fast, like a cat, I guess? I'd read about it in a manga once. I heard that somewhere.
コズピーが東京に来てから最初の友達なん。
Senna didn't answer. Instead, she just glared at me. I thought she might attack me with the sword in her hand. There's no sword in her hand. But she didn't do anything. She didn't seem really upset that I called her scary either.
小杖、どうしてこいつと？
Leading him astray.
たくみちゃんはクラスメートです。
She sounded really excited about it.
ほいでね、たくみちゃんはコズピーの剣が見えるんだよ。
それは知っている。こいつもギガロマニアックスだ。
Gigalomaniac. That's a fun word. I like that word a lot. That looks like it says gigolo. A gigolo? A gigolo? What?
ギガロマニアックス。理想度が見える人のこと。
That's well, cool. They have fun little terms for themselves.
たくみちゃんもそうだよ。
Oh, hooray for me. Gigalomaniac. Who the hell had picked that name? And if it had a name, did that mean it was more common than I thought it was?
あ、セナさんはガルガリ君買いに行くとこなんですね。
Cool. Good for her.
それは。
Apparently, Kozupi had read Senna's mind. Come to think of it, Senna had been eating a Garu-Gari-kun bar the last time we met too. Is that the ice cream? It was almost winter. With the weather this cold, I couldn't understand why anybody would want to eat popsicles. She must really like them. There is no limit to when you can or cannot eat a popsicle.
ほいじゃあ、みんなで一緒に行きましょう。
I heard Kozupi's voice speak in my head as she playfully grabbed Senna's hand and started to
た
walk.
くみちゃんもはーやく。
いや、僕は。
I turned to leave, but... Suddenly, Kozupi's eyes were filled with tears. She silently pleaded to me with her wet eyes. Next to her, Senna was looking like she was ready to bite my head off. She should, just...
つ
Oh,
いてこい。
one bite.
お前にもおごってやる。
Oh, okay. From the look of it, Senna was weak to Kozupi's teary-eyed attack, too. She motioned to me reluctantly, and we started heading toward the convenience store right behind the police box. And she only got one for herself. So, fuck the two of you, you ain't get one. We each bought a Garu-Gari-kun, and the two of them sat down on the railings in front of the police box and began to nibble on their popsicles. And nibbling on popsicles is, I think, where we will wrap up for this week